Vilnius, woo! The Philippines, woo! Looks like Chris and Aaron are together. That's very exciting. Congratulations to everybody. I think Aaron was number 2 in production in April. Is that correct, Aaron? Nod your head. Good job. And Chenda is standing with someone in the picture that I presume is his wife, and with a bouquet of flowers. So congrats to Chenda for busting 100K for the second time in our history. And Joris Cronin, also looking good, number 3 there. So without delay, we will jump into our topic for today. And today we're going to talk about the slight edge. Your slight edge. Has anyone heard that term before? A slight edge. A few of you, yes. A couple of you nodding. Some of you just falling asleep. Excellent. The slight edge is a term I got. And I got to tell you, this call that I'm doing today was inspired because I got to watch Chris Lorenzo's presentation. Did you have a chance to see that? Who saw that? That was really good. I was like, oh, this is good stuff. And it made my brain, the synapses fire onto other topics. And so this came from that. The Slight Edge is actually a book that was written a few years back. And the subtitle is Turning Simple Disciplines into Massive Success. So you can find it on Amazon, and I'm going to send that out with the recording. Danny's going to send that out to everybody. So anyway, let me start off, and I'm going to say a couple things. This is one big quote I want you to remember. And if you're thinking, this will make sense. If you don't work hard when you don't have to, you will have to work hard when you don't want to. Think about that. It's true. If you don't work hard when you don't have to, you will definitely have to work hard when you don't want to. And I translate that into when I was in my 20s, I was definitely working hard. I was grinding away, making it happen, working extra hours, many times 13 or 14 hours a day, especially in our summer sales program. So I wanted to work hard when I didn't have to. I wasn't married. I wasn't supporting a family at that point. Because later, I didn't want to work hard when I felt like more in the retirement mode, which is where I am now. So that's good news. And if you saw me talking on the phone, I was just talking to my financial advisor. And we were just donating many, many, many thousands of dollars to our church. So you want to be in a position when you're old, like me, to be able to pay it forward and share what you have accumulated, right? So work hard now so that later on you have options. That's another way of that statement working. All right, let's talk about the Slight Edge philosophy. This is philosophy. It's a new way of thinking. It helps you make simple daily choices and take tiny actions. And what that does is it creates the compound effect to deliver the type of life that you want. So everybody's read The Compound Effect? Yeah? If you haven't, that's another good book. I'm throwing out some good books today. The Compound Effect, very good, but this tracks right along with it. There was a guy that I used to work with at Southwestern way back in the day. He was a district sales manager, and he named his organization The Slight Edge. And I was like, oh, his name was Ananta. And I said, Ananta, what is the slight edge? So he explained it to me, and the book came out, and it all fit and made sense. So here's the deal. Our philosophies shape our attitudes and actions, and our philosophies, what we think about, really shape our results, if you think about that. And that, in turn, all those come together and shape our lives. So it goes back to thinking, a way of thinking. So here's the secret ingredient for the slight edge. It's very straightforward. To do the small things over and over again until success kicks in. Okay? So what's the slight edge? It's doing small, tiny, good things over and over until success starts. So most of these small things are extremely easy to do. Like some of you maybe are trying to lose weight. You know, this happens when you get older. Some of you don't worry about it now. But as you get older, you start to think a little bit about your weight. You get married, you put on some pounds. So one small little choice that you have to make is when you go to a restaurant, do I choose the all-you-can-eat fries basket, or do I choose a salad? And you're thinking, well, that's just a teeny choice. I mean, if I get some French fries, I'm not going to instantly gain 30 pounds. You're right, you're not. But over the course of time, these little tiny choices do add up, right? Saving $10, spending $10, it all accumulates. It compounds over time, and it can produce massive results if you make good choices. So let me give you the formula for the slight edge. Here it is. And this is good to write down. Consistently repeated daily actions. Sorry, that's a lot of words there. That's not the formula yet. Consistently repeated daily actions plus time equals massive results. Consistently repeated daily actions plus time equals massive results. So let me give you an example of how this notion helped me. When I worked, some of you are familiar with a few of us, Dimitri, Shenda, gosh, a bunch of us worked selling books when we were at university. And so as we worked during the day, there were when I was selling, there were about 3,000 salespeople that were working in a direct sales program. And so what I tried to do was figure out, this is what the company subscribed, right? Eustace will remember this. They said, if you work this many hours a day, you'll be a winner. So what I did was I worked that many hours and then that much more. In other words, about 9 p.m. when everybody else was knocking off and heading back home and to be with their roommates, I closed my eyes and I would picture everybody get in their cars, calling it a day. I'm finished, woohoo, whatever, I'm done selling. I'm gonna go back and relax for a little while before I get up and do it again. And I would think, I'm gonna go do one more presentation. I'm gonna do just a little bit more than everyone else. And you know what happened? Over the course of time, that little tiny slight edge grew to where I was one of the top producers and beat most people. So you're like, well, you're bragging. Yes, but I'm trying to teach you the slight edge philosophy. So my question to you is, what is your slight edge at LGFG? You know what my other slight edge was? I would get home after a long day of sales, just like you guys. How many of you leave and you come home and you get off the phones and you're come home tired? Anybody like that? You're like, oh, I just want to chill. That's totally fine. You know what I did just for a few minutes? I would pull out my sales script and I would read through it. Read through it, okay. And I would go, ooh, I'm not saying that. Ooh, I left this out. I forgot all this. Because I always wanted to stick with the basics. So those two things, working a little bit extra in the evening and then reading my sales script to stick to the basics, those were my slight edge when I was in my 20s and selling, okay? What is your slight edge? It really adds up. Here's a little calculation. If you take a penny, like an American penny, and you double it every day, so the next day it's 2 cents, next day it's 4 cents, next day, in a month, that will grow to $10 million. You're like, what? Exactly. We didn't talk about money yet today, but I want to encourage you to save a little bit every day and put it away and don't touch it and let the interest grow on that. If you improved in your technical selling skills by just 1% a day, you would have improved by 365% in 1 year. And some of you are like, I just want to do better at this. Well, just do it incrementally, right? So with each passing minute and every little choice that we make, the slight edge is at work. It either works for you or it can work against you, right? If you make errors in judgment long enough, you will suffer because of the anti-slight edge. Okay, so you're like, well, why doesn't everybody do this? This is an easy, simple idea. Well, here's why. Unfortunately, first of all, things that are easy to do are just as easy not to do, right? things that are easy to do are just as easy not to do. Like, I can eat a big basket of French fries. I'll eat a salad tomorrow. Okay, that's easy. Just because, precisely because they're small decisions and actions, it doesn't kill us immediately if we don't take the right path. The other thing is, for the slight edge to work, you have to do something and you have to keep doing it until you succeed. You have to follow what this guy Olson that wrote this book, he calls the plant, cultivate, harvest cycle. Plant, cultivate, harvest. So a lot of people nowadays, though, expect something from nothing, or they want to go directly from plant to harvest. It's like, I tried, I learned the material, I can't sell. This is horrible. I hate my job. I'm super frustrated. I should be hitting 100K every month. No, that's the plant harvest mentality. You have to cultivate it. You have to till the soil. You have to allow the little baby seeds to germinate. And it takes a long time. So it's called the law of the harvest. The other reason, unfortunately, people don't do this is the results are not immediately visible. Okay? When you start a slight edge, which I'm going to tell you about here in a few minutes, the little small activities are totally undramatic. There's like insignificant. So I know here in America, our society tends to worship breakthroughs and quantum leaps and overnight successes. Woohoo! We love that microwave success, which is completely fake. It's easy to give up and stop doing the small actions of the slight edge. Okay, so you guys with me so far? Nod your head. Okay, good. Some of you are awake. That's really good. So there's really two life paths that we're talking about. And I'm going to, again, sometimes I lap into my astronomy and meteorology days, but I'm going to tell you just a teeny bit about physics and space. It's been scientific, and you know this, it's been scientifically established that space is not just a vacuum. Space is curved, right? Everybody know that? And those massive celestial objects out in the heavens, like a star, the gravity actually curves space around it. That's why black holes, if you looked at them, if you look at a diagram, hypercurved as things fall into it. But anyway, that's astronomy. So in life, there are also no such thing as straight lines. Your life is actually curved too. This is Jeff Olson's thesis. Your daily choices determine which curve you're on. If you're making the right choices every day, your life curves on the upper half, which only about 5% of the people in the world are on. Okay? Those are the people that are making good daily choices. And if you're making simple errors in judgment every day, you're on the lower curve. And that's where the majority of people are. So the majority of people on the lower curve, they're like, hey, you know what? I probably should study and get a little bit better at my job. But you know what? There's a really cool show coming on that I taped. And they're just, here we go. Or Facebook calls. Woohoo! I'm going to spend, oh my gosh, 3 hours are gone. I can't believe it. I know none of you are on Facebook, but Instagram, whatever. Pick your social media poison. So the slight edge is constantly at work. And once you make a firm decision to step onto that upper curve and constantly apply the slight edge principle, you can turn any area of your life around in a few years. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it takes longer. Depends on what you've chosen. So I'm going to go through real quick. I'm not trying to cover the whole book because you can order it if you like, but Olson says you've got to harness, there's 5 sources of power they said can lead to mastery. I like that word, mastery. So 5 sources of power. He says the first source is momentum. Momentum. Stay in motion. Give yourself time. Do the slight edge, but don't try it for 3 days and go, well, slight edge didn't work. I tried this little new habit for 4 days and I forgot. Okay, there's no momentum. Second source of power, he says, is completion. Complete your list of incompletions. That's a source of power. Some of you I've coached have like 300 things on your to-do list and email inboxes that are totally clogged up. and all these things that you want to do that you haven't gotten around to. Once you start knocking those out and you complete them, it gives you power. You get confidence from that because you feel organized, right? Yes, I know I've talked to some of you. The third source of power, as you can imagine, is habit. Habit. And he says you've got to repeat the right actions until they become automatic. Automatic. And I'm sorry for bringing up Tiger Woods again, who just won the Masters golf tournament a few weeks ago. But what a master of habit. His brain is so wired for success and comeback after a horrible car wreck and being 11 years out of the running for winning a major golf tournament, to the ability to focus, the ability to remember those motor skills when you're taking a swing with the golf club. I mean, all that is just habit from the time he was a very young boy practicing golf. And it was great to see him win. You should go online and watch his YouTube of his victory. It's very inspiring. But he had such ingrained habits, and he did so many slight edges regarding golf. It really paid off. Fourth source of power is reflection. This is one, if you scored yourself, many of you go, oh yeah, reflection. I forgot to reflect. I forgot, which is kind of ironic. But reflecting daily for constant improvement is a good thing. And if you can't do it every day, maybe you take time at the end of a week to just take 5 minutes and think, what did I do well this week? What should I do better? How can I improve? Very few people in the world reflect. They just go to the next week. Here we go. Time to go get on the phones again. Got to reflect. Fifth source of power, and this is kind of different, is celebration. Celebrate each successful choice you make. So have a little celebration when you do things right. In the 1 Minute Salesperson, the book says you've got to catch yourself doing things right. That's what celebration is all about. Our brains are really wired to do. Who's good at catching yourself doing things wrong? Anybody? You're good at noticing that? You're like, oh man, I screwed that up again. Ugh. Well, the counterintuitive thing is to catch yourself doing things right and to celebrate that. And I'm not talking about, hey, I'm taking 2 weeks off because I worked an extra 15 minutes on the phones. No, I'm not talking about a massive success celebration, but just over something tiny. I knew a guy that when he sold, this is really goofy, but when he was selling, he carried a bag of jelly beans with him. And so whenever he would make a successful presentation or close a sale, he'd come out and get 2 or 3 jelly beans and eat them. And that was I'm like, okay, if that's what gets you excited, David, that's cool. That doesn't get, I'd rather have something else, maybe like a nice watch. But anyway, celebrate. So the whole deal here is that I'm trying to encourage you to focus on a philosophy, not on the results. If you're new, and focus on the philosophy, the thinking, not the results. Most of you, when you're new in the business, like you've been working for, 5, 6 months, 8 months, you're a newbie. Well, the deal is you're totally focusing on results. And that's what I used to do. If I had a good day and I sold something, I was like, yoo-hoo, I'm a winner. And if I didn't fill the calendar in your case, I hate my life. I'm not good at this. Maybe I should look for something else. That's focusing on results. What we got to do as we do the grind is focus on the philosophy, the right habits. You shouldn't focus on results because that's just focusing on the past. As soon as the day's over, the day's over. That's the past. All right? So let me close by, the question is, okay, so how do you do this slight edge thing? Well, he says you look at 5 key areas of your life. Let's say you want to concentrate on your life. Some of you want to concentrate on career and getting that down and making more money. That's fine. Perfect. That's financial. But there's also health. There's that area of your life. Personal development is an area of your life you can do slight edge on. There are relationships, like some of you maybe have some relationships that need to be repaired. That is also an area that you can focus on. So here's what he says. You pick an area, or all of them, And you write down your dreams for that area. What are my dreams? Okay. So if you have an area like, I want to rebuild or repair a relationship with my parents that's fallen out of, over the course of years, then you're going to write down very specific, vivid outcome, like a goal that you want to achieve. All right? So write that down. He says the second thing you write down is the price you have to pay to reach that vision. Okay? So write down the big dream, write down the price that you've got to pay, because you're going to have to pay a price. It don't come easy, as Ringo Starr sings, right? The third thing he says is you've got to write down a plan to start. When do I plan to start? How will I start? When will I start? If you write down the word sometime, then you're not very serious about change. So write down a timeline. And then finally, that's the slide edge. You write down one simple daily discipline. One simple daily discipline that pertains to that area of your life. If you're repairing a relationship, you could write down, you know what, this weekend I'm going to call my parents and actually talk to them for the first time in a year. Might be a little scary, but it's taking a step in the right direction. It's a little tiny thing, right? Or drop them an email. That might be something. If your financial situation is bad and all you're doing is asking for cash advances and I need money and my check's not here yet, and blah, 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 and you're behind or you're in debt, then guess what? What's your slide edge going to be? I'm going to go back and listen to the recordings on finances, and I'm going to start to pay down my debt, right? On the smallest credit card that I owe. Go back, you can hear my recordings on that. So you want to pick something that's easy to do, but over the course of time is going to grow, right? Everybody tracking with me? Okay, good. And that's the whole point. Years ago, and I'll just close with this example. When I worked in a more corporate setting, I found that there was, some of you may have found that there's work, and then there's like your family life over here, and sometimes they're doing this. Because what I found is no matter where you work, the company, whatever that is, wants more of you. Like, give me more time, more energy, more creativity, more hours at work. That's just the way it is. And where I worked as director of marketing and leadership, I could literally work almost around the clock and still think of new stuff and come up with things and have people requesting my time. So this natural tension between your personal life and work life can come to heads. And sometimes people make choices like that, the little choices that they say, well, I'm going to get with my family and my kids, or I'm going to develop my relationships. I'll just put that on the back burner. I'm really going to work hard. That's totally fine. Other people say, well, you know what? These relationships are really key, and they let their work slack. So what you have to do is come up with some compromises. So here's what I did. I found that I was being asked to travel a whole lot, almost every weekend, for example, in the summertime, our peak season. So here's what I decided. Instead of saying goodbye and the kids are crying and like, no, Daddy, don't go again. I'm like, I've got to. I'm making money for the family. I just said, here, let's try something really different. My slide edge was, I'm going to take my kids with me. So every time I flew somewhere, I would say, guess what, Luke? It's your turn. This weekend, we're going to Philadelphia. Woohoo! So we'd have some time with Dad, which was a big victory, and create some really cool memories and take some good pictures. And then I would do the meeting, and he would have to take care of himself in the hotel room. But every weekend, we'd rotate kids. Kelsey got to go different places, and now we've got these big photo albums of where we went, and they're well traveled. And I bring my wife sometimes, just for the record. So I want to make sure that if you're in a healthy relationship, that you are getting that balance and choosing correctly when it comes to the slide edge with your relationships too. Because anything that you just ignore, like guys, it's very typical for us when we get into a dating relationship. Hear me on this. And when you start dating somebody seriously or you get married, then here's what we do. Check. Woo! Got it. Made it. Done. And we start to turn our attention and energy to work instead of investing into that relationship. And if you just let it go, it starts to deteriorate, as some of you may have discovered. So you have to reinvest and take a little bit of time every day, a slight edge with your important relationships, like your wife or husband or partner or whatever you call it. All right? So just some thoughts. So I'll leave you with these questions. I want you to think about these questions. First, think about what small, poor decisions that you've made over the course of time that sort of hurt you. And if it's okay as a group and you feel comfortable, share those with the group. That will make you authentic. All right? So what are some mistakes you've made with the slight edge? Here's the other thing. Going forward, what is my slight edge going to be in the areas of my life, especially at work? What can I do that over the course of time will set me apart from other people and give me a competitive edge? Good questions. All right? Any thoughts from the gallery since I've talked the entire time? Any input? Anybody employed the slight edge before this philosophy? Have you used this? Maybe you called it something different. Okay. I know some of you are doing the slight edge. That's why you're winning and doing well. You just haven't thought about it that way. So I want you to think, what are these little tiny things I can do to win? All right. So I wish you well. We will talk again, God willing. We will talk again next week if you tune in, and we'll I don't know what we'll talk about. I'm always combing the success horizon for other things that I can share with you on leadership. So hopefully this is a good thought, made you think. Go have a great week. Keep up the great work. We'll see ya.